dear chairperson and other panelist members, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning to one and all.
Good morning.
So by keeping the invitation in my mind, they talk about keynote address. So by keeping that aspects, I prepared the presentation for at least for half an hour. But the chairman has requested me to complete the presentation within 10 to 15 minutes. So I will request chairperson to 2 more minutes.
Okay.
To give the 2 minutes
So far
for
as
giving.
Organizers don't force me, I am okay.
Yeah. The 2 minutes granted requirement for to describe about the institution organization.
Yeah.
But it somewhat differ. Actually, the past 2 days, we are hearing about the NGOs and corporate, how we are working towards the WTE, and what are the contribution, what are technology adopted that, whether it is cost effective, what are the mechanism adopted that. It is little bit different. My organization, it is Central Water and Power Research Station. It is one of the R&D organization of Ministry of Jal Shakti. Actually, we are catering the needs for the power and water as well as the coastal management side. We are preparing the detailed project report for various projects allocated by the state and central organizations as well as NGOs also that. Regarding that solid waste management, exactly we are not working on that, but we are vetting out the studies carried out by the various organizations, and we are helping them to clear the report from the government agencies to get the fund. In this aspect, we are working on that. So by keeping the title of the thing, Municipal Solid Waste Management, so the Pune Municipal Corporation carried out some studies for the integrated solid management, solid waste management approach. Then they divert the report for the vetting out the reports, means it's have to review the report that. By this aspect, we review the report and give recommendations for the further implementation from that side. That. Next slide, please. If we are taking global, how the solid waste is generated, it is 3 categories. One is urban, industrial, rural. When we talk about the first and second, when the urban is there, industrial also part of the urban things. So like that, the solid state is generated from 3 categories, 3 regions. One is urban region, rural region, and industrial regions. Next slide. How we can classify it? When we take in solid waste management resources, almost we are having each and every aspects. If you see industrial side and non-industrial side, residential, non-residential, how they are contributing to the division wise. If you take industrial, it is industrial waste, it is non-hazardous and potentially hazardous. If we come into urban, that is non-residential and is commercial waste, and pollutant waste from the hospital, and institutional waste, and construction and demolition waste. That the debris is we can find anymore. And the rural side, we have the agriculture and animal husbandry waste. In the urban region, it is domestic waste. This is one of the big aspects we are taking metropolitan cities, how we are collecting the waste, how we can able to treat it properly that. If we are telling neighbors that don't put they will not listen. But there is no municipal corporation also have the control on that, how we can treat the domestic waste, especially in the upcoming regions. Then how the class of waste is produced by various divisions. If I take industrial solid waste, and rural, agricultural, and animal husbandry solid waste. If I come into urban, it is called urban solid waste. Either residential, if it is domestic, non-residential means commercial, institutional, service, construction, demolition, and special categories of waste. Next slide. Then what are the reasons for the solid waste? So the rapid urbanization and changing consumer habits, space constraints for processing, that is one of the big tasks to accommodate the computer plant, and in change in quality and composition of waste generated, and innovating sustainable solution, segregation at source and decentralized processing of waste. The segregation is one of the major issue. Now, if we are taking any that apartments where the upcoming metropolitan cities, the society itself is telling you put the dry waste and wet waste, because it's easy to segregate the things when you come into the collection center that. But whether it is really needed, are we really following? That is one of the big question mark, because still the corporations insisting the domestic residents to segregate the waste at your level, but in principle it is not possible due to some constraints. Then what are the composition of the municipal solid waste? One is organic waste and inorganic waste. In the organic waste, food waste, garden waste, textile and rubber, paper and box, and inorganic, it is classified in 3 categories: plastics, glass and metal. Next slide. Then, when we talk about the management of municipal solid waste, this is one of the big question mark in all the municipal corporations. There are a lot of components involved in that, due to manpower, cost, and other administrative procedures. Then how we can manage it? The solid waste include all solid or semi-solid materials that the processor no longer considers for sufficient value to retain, because no value to retain those things. Next slide. So these are the overall process of the waste, how the flow is wasted that, and how we are collecting from the various zone, and how we are treating, and how we are making use of it for generating energy from the waste. These are the process will be followed. Household commercial, household public markets, chronic spots, hotel restaurants, garden waste, and how we are coming to the collection center, we are taking processing plant, and as well as we are taking for how we can able to create the energy from the waste. Next slide. So these are the steps followed. Normally it is followed by most of the NGOs as well as the corporate sectors. The waste processing only bioconversion, thermal conversion. If I come into biogas, composting, vermiculture and mechanical composting, and coming to thermal conversion, it is incineration, pyrolysis, gasification and pelletization. Next slide. So these are the process. It is followed by the previous speakers told how we the SARS as well as other colleagues from the Philippines and one of the senior faculty from Annamalai University, how we are taking care of that. This is the process of the solid waste collection, storage, segregation, transportation, processing and scientific disposal. Next slide. So this is the example carried out by the Pune Municipal Corporation, how we are treating the solid waste in Pune metropolitan cities. See, Pune is the 8th largest city in India and 2nd largest city in state of Maharashtra. The population almost 4 million as per the 2020 census. Now it is crossed 50 lakhs, 5 million. The household is near about 1 million. The Pune city consists of 4 zones and 15 administrative ward offices and 76 prabhas. Why they created this collection center to collect the municipal solid waste from the various divisions, and it will take into the collection center and treating and create the energy. Next slide. These are the integrated solid waste management approaches adopted by the Pune Municipal Corporation. How we are treating the waste, if self-delivery, appropriate technology, and environmental regulatory and institutional framework, and financially sustainable or not, effectively resource utilization. Next slide. And how it is the waste generation is happening. If you are seeing the 2011, almost 17 tons per day. If you are projecting in the 2041, almost 6,700 tons per day will be waste will be generated. And what are the contribution from it, and what are the available mechanism with the Pune Municipal Corporation, how much additional requirement is there in terms of mechanical as well as personal to treating the solid waste. Next slide. The presently Pune generate 1,600 to 1,700 solid waste per day, and the available mechanism with to treat the waste is 260 trucks, and these are some figures given by the municipal corporation. And the biomedical waste is almost 5 to 6 tons per day. Now it is increasing almost 3 times because of that hospitalization due to some factors. Next slide. This is the composition of the municipal solid waste, and how much the contribution we see. The 33% comes from the organic, and 25% from the inert materials, 6% from paper, and 5 each from plastic and glass waste, and 3 from metal, 1 from leather and rubber. Miscellaneous almost 22. That animal husbandry and vegetable, rotten vegetable, that is the 22% waste will be generated. Next slide. Yes. So under the program that they called Swachh, sometimes Swachh Bharat. Under the category they called Swachh, and as for PMC they have made a contract. What the Swachh is doing that for PMC, it is entire Pune including some commercial areas, integration of waste pickup from the waste management, and promoting segregation at source and diverting to the recycling, And what the PMC contributing? It's administrative cost, equipment, and the slum subsidy and infrastructure, including officers and starting sets to create the infrastructure for them. This is the user fee-based model. No wages to be paid waste pickers by switch or PMC. That is the created by the public organization, and waste pickers earn from user fees and sale of recyclables only. So it is the PMC will not pay anything for the waste pickers. It generated from some fund. This is a such model implemented by the PMC. The source segregated waste, how they are collecting, how the composing they are making that, and biomethanization plant and the material recovery center. From the non-recyclable they are segregating and going to centrally use it. From there they will be treated that. Then the treated waste, that waste energy will be generated. Next slide. Next slide. Yes. So how the waste pickers? Because most of the time the Pune Municipal Corporation, not any municipal corporation, the workers will tell, so no material, no manpower, no subsidy materials. That is one of the big issue in all the municipal corporations. Next slide. Yes. So now under such how the PMC is working on that, almost 45 sorting sets, including 6 portable and other things. And the Sonia Gram Udyog Pralak, it is one of the scheme. They are having the collection center at 3 places, Avan, Kachraj and Yerwada, and 250 waste pickers are deployed and directly attached processor, and they are treating 4 tons per day waste is processed each and every day. See, before the search model, how it is happening, after search model, how it is implemented, you can see the improvement of the people itself having the mechanism to treat the waste. Next slide. And what are the primary collection of waste implemented PMC? If a door-to-door collection, 50%. And for collection from the household, from Gandagi directly, 15%. And community bin collection by 32%, and chronic spot by 3%. So the way they are collecting the waste from the various divisions. Next slide. So the route map, how we are having the collection center and treating center for the entire Pune city. Next slide. These are the intermediate transfer center. Once they collect the waste, they send to the center that there will be treated by some mechanism, then will be treated for further uses. Having adopted vermiculture composting, and how the vermiculture bins are used to compost the waste, treat the waste. Next. The current processing of waste, the Bhumi Green Solutions having 2,000 tons per day we use in the composting technology. The unit is established, adopts the RAM and the RAM Technical Industrial Estate. And the mechanical composting and thermal composting adopted by the PMC, they are generating the waste 50 to 100 tons per day. They are adopting technology vermicompost, and 13 decentralized units of plants are established. Biomethanization, it is 125 tons per day. They are generating electricity as well as composting. Noble Exchange Environment Solution, 300 tons per day that biogens generating. And the AD Eco Solution, 50 tons per day. Green Solution, 25 tons per day. And the Rostam Separation having 350 tons per day. It is the plant is established in Ram Tekadi and Hadapsar. Next slide. These are the entire processing plants and transferring stations across Pune city. So it is currently implemented, and it is implemented successfully. That.
You can come to conclusion now.
So this is the waste generated by how the generated heat from that waste is energy is generated. Biogas generation 300, and if you are taking the net surplus requirement is that almost 400 kilowatt per day is required till we are having shortage. Next slide. Next slide. Next. Yes. Now the waste pickers, they are having, they implemented some penal cost collection from the agencies, and the waste picker will get more 75% household things, and the commercial having 150 thing, and for households in slums area 50 rupees per day. Next slide. Next. This is on a segregation approach. Because one of our earlier person told some of the country they didn't follow the segregation also, still they treat as best practices. But it is here very difficult in India that because we are having ourselves is not adapt to the particular environment, So the segregation is one of the must to be carried out before treating the waste. That's why in most of the metropolitan cities, they in the municipal corporation, instead with the household people, domestic, at least segregate yourself dry waste and wet waste. It is easy for the segregation process. Next. How we can reuse the derived fuels for pelletization. This is one of the technology adopted for them. Next. So this is one of CNC plant. It is located to almost generate 300 tons per organic waste is used to generate the gas. Next.
This is
Next.
running plant.
Running plant, all running plant only. It is a plant is located in Ambe Talaiho. It is one of the having beautiful plant. You can worthwhile to visit that. Next. Then another one of the waste is sanitary waste management. This is one of the big tasks in that metropolitan district is how we can treat the sanitary waste. In PMC, they successfully implemented the sanitary machines in more than 15 schools at the 3 areas. Then having the incinerator because installed as per the government norms, and in the 718 napkins incinerated per unit day, it is one of the successful project implemented PMC in the sanitary waste management. Next slide. Next. So this is one of the strategic approach. It is again located in Ambega Talaiga only. How we are decentralizing the waste and to generate the energy. Next. Yeah. The most important thing is people participation program approach. This is one of the best practices so that we can manage the waste to some extent, and how the people are directly involved to the waste management. Next. A landfill, that is one of the another task because we are dumping waste from the waste yard, and how we are collecting the main problem collection as well as reiterating the process due to some other factors. Next. So the scientific landfall is implemented to treat the waste. Next. And the final term of the zero waste model. How we have to increase the awareness, reduce mixed and remove containers, decentralized processing of waste, and improve efficiency of waste collection and zero cost. Ultimately, the Pune Municipal Corporation expecting the zero waste by another 20 years. Next. This is the zero garbage model, segregation source, door-to-door collection, sorting process, and the biogas processing limit, and create the type of waste handling the specialized waste. Next. This is the zero garbage model, whatever explained in the previous slide. Next. So this the Pune is expecting within a span of another 2040, and the Pune city will be the zero garbage. Next. So they initiated the project 2020. At least the project period is almost, we are expecting 22. The figure is no. If I remember, if the figure is correct, in 2040 will be achieve this target. And how much area will be rolled out? Some 20 blocks as well as 2.61 lakh properties and roughly 8 lakh residents. Next. So this Kotharaji ward is one of the successful ward to implement the zero garbage model so far. Next. So this is how the project is implemented in the particular region. This is original zero garbage and new zero garbage wards in the Kotharaji ward. Next. So these are the conclusions. The Pune Municipal Corporation has started municipal solid waste in India. The 2043 horizon will require management of about 60,000 per day waste with state-of-art reduction technologies for resource and energy recovery. The emphasis will also shift to full consumption of treated waste product within the city limits. Next. So the emphasis will also be on reduction of residues to go into landfill, and the citizen governments have come together mutually agreed to execute solutions, and Pune will be emerging eco-friendly city by 2043. We hope that. Next slide. Thank you so much for listening.